Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Since this is a crime-related channel, today we are looking into some deeply disturbing and high-profile criminal cases. Let's see what the truth is. On January 6, 2025, a murder takes place in a city. This story begins on New Year's night. A boy sent an emoji of a peeled banana to another person's number. After this, that person kept looking for him like crazy, and if he had come in front of him at that time, he would have murdered him. Money had completely ruined the mind of that person. A female TikToker, a boy entered her house and shot her dead in a city. He rented a car from a showroom, loaded the car, took it, blackmailed her, tried to trap the girl, and made various offers to her. There was a case in a province where in broad daylight, a girl and a boy were murdered. She went holding the Holy Quran close to her chest. Before dying, that brave woman also said, "You have permission to shoot us, but other than that, you have no permission for anything else." Until today, no one knows what happened to that other girl. Was it suicide, murder, or a natural death? There was no flesh left on the body, it was just a skeleton of bones. Neither did anyone notice any smell, nor did any family member, friend, or colleague contact her. On October 5, a person was murdered. A man brought someone else there and they fired 150 bullets. Friends, in today's podcast, we will talk about the high-profile stories of the year 2025. We will start from a murder case, move to the murder of a TikToker, and then discuss the mysterious death of a girl and an honor killing in a province. We will talk about all these topics, present the real facts before you, and also share the current status of these cases. Watch this podcast till the end and subscribe to the channel right now. Madam, the year 2025 is coming to an end. If we talk about the high-profile stories of this year and start from the month of January, on January 6, 2025, a murder takes place in a city. The body is found a month later. If we give a recap to the audience and explain what circumstances led to the murder, how the killer was caught, and what the status of this case is today. If we recall that case a bit so that all the viewers who have just joined us can remember what characters were actually involved and what happened. As it is known, this was a murder case and a high-profile one at that. 3 of its characters were major figures. One was the perpetrator, the second was the girl, and the third character was the victim. And a 4th character was also involved, who was the friend of the perpetrator. Exactly, he was the friend of the perpetrator. If we look at his role, he acted as a supporter. We can also say, as some put it, that he was a lackey. Whatever the perpetrator ordered, he had to execute. Well, family-wise, the victim was a financially stable boy, meaning his family wasn't living hand-to-mouth. It was a settled family. A well-off family. A well-off family. Now, if we talk about the perpetrator, he belonged to an extremely wealthy, rich family. And his call center business, which committed fraud, he had accumulated billions of rupees from it. A call center is legally an illegal means of earning money in the country, especially for amassing that much wealth. Now, where does the story of this murder case begin? What transpired that led to the murder of the victim? This story begins on New Year's night where a party was being properly celebrated. The perpetrator was there, along with his female friend, and some other people were also present. This party was being celebrated with great enthusiasm, organized entirely by the perpetrator. The party went well, and the perpetrator, along with his friends, consumed a heavy amount of drugs. Not a single boy among them remained conscious. During this time, at this very party, the perpetrator also made an advance and tried hard with the girl. The party concluded and no bloodshed happened that night. The girl later told everything to the victim about the attempt that occurred during the party, the drugs, the situation, the friends, and whatever the conditions were, detailing it completely. The victim listened to it all because he was also a friend of the girl. They were mutual friends who hung out together. What did the victim do? The victim sent an emoji of a peeled banana to the perpetrator's number. And this became the ultimate reason for the victim's murder because the perpetrator did not understand what this emoji meant. Whether the perpetrator understood it or not, this was the exact point that triggered him. He thought that perhaps he was mocking him, teasing him, or taunting him for making an advance and failing to succeed. From here, their grudge ignited. What did the perpetrator do? He beat up the girl severely over this matter because he was 110% sure that she had exposed the entire story and that night's event, which prompted the victim to send that emoji as a taunt. The perpetrator took out his grudge on the girl by assaulting her, abusing her, pushing her, and acting highly disrespectful. During this assault, one of the girl's fingers broke. He even showed her a bullet and threatened that if she dared to tell the police, the hospital staff, or her family, he would kill her, and then they could see whatever they wanted to do to him. Now the friend, the lackey as I mentioned earlier, was present there. He saved the girl from the perpetrator's rage and violence. He got an online ride booked for her and sent her away. Yes, he got a ride booked, sent her to the hospital, and her treatment started there. But the interesting and critical thing in this case is that the girl did not disclose this assault to anyone, concealing that the perpetrator had brought her to this point. This matter concluded and that part of the story became clear. First, the New Year's night, then this violent behavior with the girl. Now let's talk about the third aspect. Inside the perpetrator, a sinister feeling was triggering him, that the girl had humiliated him. He had beaten her, but now he wouldn't spare the victim. And the victim's mother mentioned on my show that after this, the perpetrator hunted for the victim like crazy. If the victim had crossed paths with him at that time, he would have murdered him on the spot. Perhaps he would have murdered him right then. But they say that God has destined everything differently, and something specific is written in everyone's fate. In this case, since the perpetrator's hands were destined to be stained with blood, the murder of the victim eventually happened by his hands. In what manner did it happen? It was extremely tragic, and we will talk about it in detail. The perpetrator was wandering around searching for the victim, but the victim initially managed to stay out of his reach. Then he trapped him systematically on January 6. Then he laid a trap, just as you said. It was the date of January 6, and the perpetrator trapped him by asking the victim to deliver a packet to his call center. And this allegation is leveled against the victim, though it hasn't been proven anywhere. This claim comes solely from the perpetrator's side, asserting that the victim used to supply drugs to him. Claiming he supplied drugs to him and to other places and used drugs himself, these simply remained baseless allegations. No reality, proof, or evidence has surfaced to this day. The victim went to deliver that packet to the perpetrator at his call center. A few of his guards were present there that day. There was no other major staff or anyone else in the house besides them. As soon as the victim arrived, the perpetrator executed his plan, which was premeditated, as he had been trailing him. Since he couldn't catch him earlier, he devised this setup. Because he intended to kill him anyway and harbored deep anger in his heart, the perpetrator was also heavily intoxicated that day, completely out of his senses. The perpetrator also alleged that the victim was not in his right mind either and that they did drugs together, though there is no truth, witness, or proof of this. The perpetrator grabbed iron rods lying nearby, beat the victim brutally with them, hurled abuses, and brought up the girl, stating that the purpose of the emoji was strictly to taunt him. He beat him severely, and full movie-like scenes were orchestrated by the perpetrator. What were they? He took a coin, and since he was intoxicated and out of his mind, he said, "Look, I have a coin, I will toss it. If it's tails, I will let you go. If it's heads, I will keep beating you like this." When a person is beaten with an iron rod, he loses the capacity to stand up, resist, protest, or escape. This boy then tossed the coin. They say that tails actually came up, but the perpetrator did not stand by his word. Even after tails appeared, he was supposed to let the victim go, but he didn't. He continued beating him further. According to the friend who had arrived in the meantime, he states that the perpetrator even fired shots toward the victim, though the bullets missed. As I mentioned, he was under the heavy influence of drugs at that time. His mind was entirely blocked. He didn't know what he was saying, what actions he was committing, or how he was behaving. Generally, if we study any criminal or look at history, a killer never stands at the crime scene in a fit of rage to play games with coins. Since he was completely out of his senses, he was engaging in such bizarre behavior. A pistol was present there, not just that day, but they already possessed weapons habitually. He fired at the victim, but the victim was not struck by the gunfire, so he didn't die from that. However, he beat him so brutally that the victim was rendered incapable of escape.